Hello, good morning. We can start this second edition of the Med Talks. I'm Sophie Scavels from the Interreg Euromed program. Welcome to all of you. It's with a great pleasure that we launch here today the second edition of the Med Talks, organized together between the Interreg Euromed program and the Union for the Mediterranean. I will give the floor to Corso Cervelli, the coordinator of the Interreg Euromed Joint Secretariat, for a welcome word. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for the Union of the Mediterranean Cooperation and Collaboration in the organization of this second edition of the Med Talks. Let me to pass to the French language because I would like to balance a little bit both official languages. So if you don't mind, use the translation, please.
So good morning to one and all. Good morning to all the attendees. Thank you very much for your attendance today here. I'm really very proud of having been able to organize in collaboration with the Union for the Mediterranean this meeting, this second edition of the Med Talks, because this allows us to really consolidate this old strong bond partnership, which is growing year after year, especially because if it's opening on the whole of the Mediterranean, which is very important for me, particularly in the case of this event. And it's important because it allows us as Interreg and Euromed possibility of interacting together with other partners, and unfortunately are not part of our PREMED. Interreg and Euromed can only fund partners from the northern shore of the Mediterranean, but you also know, as well as I do, that all the troubles and problems linked to climate change that are affecting the whole of the Mediterranean have no borders. So in our case, in the case of Interreg, Euromed, we need to interact with all the many different partners and stakeholders that may be able to help us improve our capacity in providing answers to the problems that have been identified so far. So what I would really like today to highlight in this intervention, that I will be concluding soon anyway, but it is the paramount importance of this partnership which is our partnership, and together with the programs such as Integrate, NextMed, and other initiatives and schemes such as PRIMA that are able to interact directly with the many different southern partners. That's why I really invite all the partners that have been benefiting for all the programs, Interreg and other programs, that try to build bonds in an spontaneous and autonomous way, regardless and beyond of what can be given by the programs. And the programs try to move forward along these lines and these goals. But of course, the main stakeholders of our future synergies, of our future stronger capacity to improve the solutions and the responses we can give to the problems we are facing are there in the territories themselves, and in the territories we can find partners. So that's what I wanted to highlight particularly in this opening remark words, the importance of you all as partners, as representatives of the many different north and south shores, to be able to find together future-oriented solutions, especially taking into account the new programs that will be rolled out in 2028, because this is a trend. This is what the Commission is asking us to do, and we might as well start by finding and experiencing new methodologies and new more working system to work together. Thank you very much. I'll just give the floor to Sophia. Have a great day. Thank you very much, Curzio.
I will give directly the floor to Alessandra Sensi from the Union for the Mediterranean Secretariat for welcome speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kurz, and thank you very much, Sophie. It's indeed a great pleasure to be with you today. As you said, we are marking another step as part of our permanent collaboration around the Mediterranean issue today by this gathering. It's an annual gathering that we prove to be very useful to make a sort of state of the art of where we stand in terms of, let's say, progression of our partnership. As you said, Curzio, we are looking at the Mediterranean as one, together with other important regional programs, the Interreg, NextMed, the PRIMA, and others. But today, with this gathering, we want indeed to have a sort of zooming, sort of focus on the activities of the governance projects that indeed the UFM is labeled as particularly relevant for the wider Mediterranean. So through our participation, let's say the activities and the solution are also open as associates to the countries of the South, indeed in this wider logic of finding common strategies and approaches to the very difficult challenges of these days, but also let's say, to see where the more, let's say, concrete activities of the projects that have been labeled under the 4 missions are standing. Indeed, the Interreg Euromed program is relevant for the Union for the Mediterranean in terms of all the division concerned. You mentioned climate change and the environment division. I mentioned also urban and transport, innovation, economics, and so on. So I'd like to make a reference to the fact that indeed the innovative sustainable economy mission is relevant, in particular for the green and blue economy dossier, which corresponds to Axis 1 of our Green Med agenda. The nature mission is very relevant also in terms of restoration efforts as far as our Axis 3 of the Greener Med agenda is concerned. The green living areas, because we know that cities have a very important stake in all what's going on. And to conclude also sustainable tourism indeed as cross-cutting access, but also as priority economic activity at Mediterranean level. With this, and just to show our full commitment to these joint efforts, I'd like also to mention that the UFM is financially supporting this effort. So we are about to reactivate a technical assistance dedicated to the support of the missions and involvement in the missions of the countries of the South. So thank you very much for this great opportunity and to see how fruitful it is and how much it has really consolidated over time. So thank you very much to all of you, and I wish you a very good webinar.
Thank you very much, Alessandra, for stressing these important aspects. Indeed, I thank you also. I would like to thank all the governance projects of the Interreg Euromed program for their involvement and effort in this initiative too, and in its cooperation framework in general, as well as all the southern stakeholders that are here today to testimony, but also to follow our activities. So without delaying more this presentation, we will start with the presentation of the stages of advancement of each mission, starting from the Innovative Sustainable Economy mission. So we will have a first presentation by Maria Calderero from BETA, UVIC, and followed by Francesco Camonita from the CPMR, Haris Palioyannis from MioXD, and Gada Ahmadain from RAED in Egypt. Thank you. Maria, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Now, sorry, I had my mic frozen a little bit. Okay,
I guess you can see the screen. Thank you so much. Good morning. I am Maria, from Project Coordinator at Beta Technological Center, and we are currently leading the thematic community project of, as Sophie said, Innovative Sustainable Economy Mission. And I will use this minute journey with my colleagues to introduce you the circular innovative solutions that comprise the mission. So just to refresh a bit the architecture of the program, the mission consists of 14 thematic projects and 2 governance projects aiming to catalyze innovation and sustainability efforts across the Mediterranean region. Also, as Curcio pointed out, it is key to engage with regional actors to make sure we amplify this knowledge, but also learn from other good practices and expertise that we all have among us. Therefore, if you are an expert or interested in innovative sustainable economy, you may want to hear more about the circular innovative solutions tackled. As you can see in this slide, the 14 thematic projects are clustered to address specific challenges and contribute to sustainable development. And more projects are about to join us, this community as well. To give you the general picture, we group the circular innovative solutions within 4 focus areas. For example, marine resources comprises SPOWIN, To Be Blue, Asaphorize, and Blue Ecosystem projects. The agri-food systems, the carbon farming MED, Clepsydro, and olive oil MED-NET. The industrial transition comprises Circle MED, Green Smart MED, Revive, and Procura MED, and resource valorization, Repair, E-Waster, and Verdein MED. And just to give you some concrete examples of each focused area, for example, currently, Asaphorize aims to I went one forward, sorry. Aims to implement innovative ecosystem spatial planning approach embedded within the circular practices production system in close to coast, but also in inland waters. And they have started a series of podcasts where you can discover how allocated zones for aquaculture are leading this transition into circular economy practices of this sector. And the idea is to engage the quintuple helix stakeholders to ensure that all voices are heard and the strategies are co-created and co-decided. They have also started monitoring water quality in the south of Spain ponds, tanks, and extensive conditions in the Bay of Cádiz. And this will help to identify ideal zones for implementing these circular aquaculture models. Also, Carbon Farming MED aims to support farmers to implement carbon farming as a new green business model as well through an internal Mediterranean market of carbon credits to obtain additional revenues, optimizing regenerative agriculture and also agroforestry practices. And they have already published the carbon farming framework, reviewing the best suited funding options, for example, for this type of Mediterranean farmers to successfully implement these business models. Main highlights include the characteristics of the climate and soil for this effectiveness implementation of these practices. And for example, the main barriers highlighted are to monitor, report, and verify these systems, and also these carbon removals and carbon framing regulations to establish this reliable and transparency certification process among the Mediterranean. Also, Procura MED has been boosting the process of green innovation technologies application in the public service by creating an Euromed coalition between public procurements and private enterprises. And they aim also to involve Southern Mediterranean stakeholders. This is also very good news for this working group. And they have started to carry out info days to companies and municipalities in terms of capacity building, also green criteria of these processes of public procurement, particularly paying attention to the self-promotion as well as B2B collaboration offered by the web database that they would put available at Mediterranean level through a coalition. So stay tuned as well in this sense. And Verdein MED aims to offer an analytical framework to study successful implementation of closing the textile loops. And they have launched an awareness raising campaign about textile waste so far. They went to the shopping street of Rome and asked the citizens if they know about the cost of clothes they wear. for the environment, and they found out together, for example, how many liters of water it takes to produce one pair of jeans, or how many tons of textile waste were produced in Italy during 2022, or where are the lowest paid garment workers in the world. And as you can imagine, numbers are very dramatic. And at the end of the project lifespan, they want to create the Green Compass as a transnational knowledge platform and support service into a single entity that supports this international collaboration to make it possible. And just being towards the end, as also Alessandra highlighted, these projects are directly contributing and supporting the Greener Met agenda by amplifying project results through different activities, solutions, also declarations, policies, strategies, capacity building, awareness raising events, and this positively impacts the territory by decreasing directly the ecological footprint, managing waste, increased marine protected areas, among others. It mainly, our mission mainly fits Axis 1, but we also want to highlight that there are projects that directly tackle also key actions from different axes from the Greener Met agenda. And I would like to finish by highlighting that we are already a community of 155 connected partners from 18 countries with a well representation of the quadruple helix. But this is within this project's consortia. But now I give the floor to my colleague who will explain how you can join us to be part of a bigger community. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Maria. I'll take it from here then. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. And my role today as Francesco Camonita, Policy and Project Officer of CPMR IMC, is to tell you about the Isaac app and why in particular we would like you to join this activity so that you can interact with us. Next slide, please. First of all, what we should do is try to understand what is the Isaac app. So let's go a little bit step by step and point by point. First of all, it is a collaborative effort and a project activity being developed by the True Governance project of the ESA mission. And after that, what we want to communicate is that it is a community of organizations and individuals which we want to transform into a dynamic space for stakeholder interactions. We are considering this as a meeting place for all parts of the Mediterranean and their stakeholders, and most importantly, as a way to connect the Euromed mission actors in the projects and external Mediterranean stakeholders. What this will mean for you is an opportunity, if you join, to stay informed about ongoing activities, explore collaboration opportunities, and even being able of offering your own inputs at an active level. Next slide, please. Where is the Isaac app? It is also important to understand that it is both a virtual space and a physical space, in the sense that when you have membership, you are able to interact through a series of online tools, but at the same time, there will be loads of activities, gatherings, events that we are organizing and where the members are also freely invited to join. Next slide, please. The idea of how is the Isaac app? What it's important to understand is that innovative sustainable economy is quite a broad field. There are loads of applications, even when we think about the green economy and blue economy chapter. So what we wanted to do was to establish a series of cataloging themes and sub-themes, which would act as navigation guidelines for potential members. So whenever you join us and whenever you consult the different activities developing inside the hub, you are sure that you can use these guidelines, these categories as a way to classify the work. So the idea is that you have green economy, blue economy, but also cross-cutting priorities. Next slide, please. The idea is also that not only you have the different guidelines, but you also have different pillars. We have classified different things that the hub does, the different activities, under 4 pillars. We have connect, in order to have the tools to connect across the different members. We have learn, when you will find a lot of learning training material. And at the same time, you have share, where you have spaces where you can share content and events, but you also have some collaborate activities in which we try to stimulate internal collaboration among the hub members. Let's go to the next slides. So what is in Pillar 1 Connect? The first thing that you will find, especially if you find our webpage and you join the hub, then on the webpage of the ESA, you will find the access to all this tool. The first one is the online network directory that we have developed through the Kubo platform, which you will find it's actually a graphical directory at the organizational level, where you will be able to register. Once you register with us, the organization you're affiliated with is introduced in here. We put the contact details, especially through LinkedIn platform. And at the same time, we are able to highlight each member's area of interest, possible expertise, and collaborative potential. And they're all connected through this kind of macro graph. Next slide, please. Let's go to the second tool. The Hub actually offers a LinkedIn group, which is different from the ESA web page, different from the ESA LinkedIn page. And it's more like a dynamic virtual space where we expect you to interact and collaborate to each other. And what we would like to underline in here is that the contents originate both from us as admins, but at the same time, you as the members of the Hub are free to post in here anything related between your organization and ESA. Next, please. Then, what is in Pillar 2 Learn? This will be much more the subject also of the following presentation with my colleague, but just to make you understand that inside the Learn pillar, you will be able to find a lot of capacity building programs, the ISAC e-library with a lot of learning materials for you. And at the same time, you will find the opportunity to get tailor-made mentoring programs. The idea is that the thematic projects will be able to develop content that can be transferred to you, to the potential members of the ISAC Hub. Next, please. When it comes to Pillar 3 Share, what you will be able to find on the website in terms of tools, it's a knowledge sharing space. Just understand that it's a Miro board which facilitates the exchange of information. So the idea is that everything that we're going to produce in our discussion, both virtually and physically, can find a space and be stored in here for your consultation a posteriori. And at the same time, you will also find a rolling calendar. We are trying to make quite a unique thing of synergizing and putting together all the different events related to ESA in a single calendar for consultation. Next, please. And finally, in terms of Pillar 4 Collaborate, we have two different sets of activities. On the first side, we want to scan for hubs. The idea is that this is not the only hub that has been developed in terms of sustainability, but rather there are multiple initiatives in the Mediterranean. So what we will try to do is establish collaborations with other hubs in terms to do cross networking in there. And at the same time, we would like to scan for messages. The idea is that we could also, in the development of policy messages and other activity of our institutional dialogue project, we will be able to involve selected members of the Hub, or maybe even ask for your input, for example, through the LinkedIn group. Perhaps we may ask for data sharing if you want to provide some evidence. Perhaps we could expose the paper for some dissemination or review from you online. We will try to actively interact and engage with you as well. Next, please. Who is the ISAC Hub so far? We are proud to confirm that as of December 2024, we have reached 218 members subscribed. The idea is that you will find, we're trying to update the Kubu platform before the Christmas break, so we'll be able to see more. And what we wanted to underline in here is that, yes, we are achieving the purpose not only of having it very European Union centric, but rather to have it with the involvement of the Southern and Eastern Mediterranean countries as well. So we already have quite a variety in there. We've been able to involve some countries of Northern Africa. At the same time, we also have some even coming from, for example, Israel and Palestine. And what we're looking forward in here is to even increase this number further and balance it out. The idea is also that what we think we are very successful in also doing is having a good balance in terms of the different territorial levels, so from local to national, regional, or international, and even in terms of quadruple helix. To conclude this, in the last slide, why should you join the ISAC Hub? Well, it's mostly for a variety of practical reasons which can be useful for you. First, are you seeking to build a partnership or you're trying to connect with like-minded people? Feel free to use our directory in the LinkedIn group. Second, would you like to get capacity building materials, training materials to learn more? So do so, join our second pillar and check out our learning repository. Or if you do not want to miss any of the Mediterranean ESA events that are going to happen through the projects, check out our calendar. Or if you want to revise some materials that have been developed in the Hub digital or physical space, then check out the Miro board as well. Lastly, if you're curious to explore and find other hubs and communities, or if you would like at some point to be engaged to transmit and include your message possibly in other policy messages, then keep an eye on our tools to be able to do so. We hope to see you all there and that you will be interested in joining. Thank you very much, and I'll give the floor to my colleague, Haris Paliogiannis.
Hi, Francesco. Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me well. So good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Haris Paliogiannis, and I'm a policy officer at the Mediterranean Information Office. And I am very happy because I would like to present to you very briefly one of the key activities of our mission, which really aims to transfer some of the results and the outputs that will be produced to other contexts and regions of the Mediterranean. And this activity will kick off in January. So we're very happy to share it today with you. How we define this activity, the mentoring and twinning one. So we refer mostly to a more targeted and personalized approach that enhances knowledge sharing, skill development, and capacity building among different regions or organizations. So the type of activity aims really to create these collaborative learning experiences to address specific challenges, goals of the participating entities to the program. So we have a little bit of our slang. We are working with takers and givers. So by givers or the mentors, we refer to the thematic projects of the mission, which currently are 14. And with takers, we mean basically you. So all the stakeholders from across the Mediterranean who are interested in participating in such programs and are interested to build on the capacities and the results received from the project. We, as the Mediterranean Information Office and the mission, we will coordinate the activity over the next years, and we will be here to support all of these type of exchanges. And by support, we also mean financial support. So next slide, please. Yeah. What kind of exchanges can the mentoring and training activities involve? So a key aspect is that every mentoring and training program is unique according to the types of actors, the types of outputs, the conditions of the replicating regions, or the capacities of the involved stakeholders. So this is why exactly we emphasize the concept of tailor-made. So here is just to help you visualize a little bit what kind of exchanges could this be. So this could be either workshops and training sessions that could be either online or face-to-face that will focus on building specific skills like policy implementation or green business practices. It could be online exchanges such as virtual sessions between stakeholders across regions that can help or encourage the sharing of good practices and resources. It could be face-to-face trainings where possible in order to observe successful projects or practices or pilots. Or we could also have peer mentoring. So in this model, we're talking more about colleagues or peers with similar experience levels to support each other. And this encourages really mutual learning, something that we're really aiming for with this activity. Next slide, please. Also, in the spirit of visualizing this type of exchanges, here you can see a little bit what kinds of areas do these exchanges involve. As Maria previously explained, we have this categorization of the 14 thematic projects into the 4 focus areas. So the types of results or the types of outputs that you could learn and benefit from this mentoring and training program. For example, in the agri-food thematic area, which encompasses all activities from farm to table, you could benefit from results that have to do with carbon farming, with groundwater monitoring for more sustainable agriculture, or topics and outputs around the olive oil and its sustainability. Regarding the industrial transition, for example, that here we are hoping to support the EU's goal on climate neutrality and digital advancement. Here, for example, you could benefit from circular assessment solutions, business opportunities specifically for the manufacturing sectors, or results that have to do with green innovation in the public procurement and public services. For the resource valorization here on the top corner, we are working with results that have to do with the textile waste, with supporting SMEs in the repair sector, or supporting the policy sector with e-waste prevention and management. And lastly, on the marine resources sector focus area, we have projects that are working with new offshore wind technologies, a better policy framework and support for emerging blue biotechnologies, aquaculture business opportunities, and lastly, how we can co-develop labs for the blue sustainable economy sector. So if you're working in any of these areas and if you are interested to receive mentorship, this activity is really something that you are looking for. Next slide, please. Yeah. And this is to give you very briefly an example of what we are aiming for and what are our key objectives through these activities. So first of all is to have a personalization, let's say, and relevance to the needs of the participating stakeholders. So activities that specifically are designed to match the unique needs of the mentees, and projects that are developed based on the assessment of the local conditions and capacities. A second aim is this expertise transfer. So we really hope to do a good matchmaking between interested mentees or takers with experienced stakeholders, which are often from more developed regions or with more specific sector expertise, so that they can guide you in this process. And lastly, a monitoring and evaluation of this whole experience. So success in mentoring and training is this consistent monitoring and following your personal journey, for example, when you are adapting these results. Next slide, please. So yeah, we're very happy also to share with you an expression of interest, the survey we have developed. So just to sum up, if you're working in any of these 4 thematic areas and you are interested in receiving support and mentorship, and you fall under one of the main categories of the 4-ply helix, so whether you are an academic or research institution, an NGO, an SME, or a public authority, then you can express your interest through the surveys that we will share with you in English and in French. And yes, now I would like to pass the floor to Ghada Ahmadein, who is also an associated partner of the mission and can briefly tell us how they can benefit from such an activity, or how we can enhance cross-collaboration between projects and other initiatives that are working on building capacities.
Thank you so much, Harris, and hello everyone. Thank you so much for giving me this chance to join this very interesting webinar. My name is Ghada Ahmadein. I'm the program manager of RAID. RAID is the Arab Network for Environment and Development. It's a network of NGOs from the Arab region. We have more than 300 members from the region. Actually, I just wanted to share with you one of our latest initiatives that we are supporting in RAID for several months now, which is the TerraMed initiative. The TerraMed initiative is an ambitious initiative to deliver 1 terawatt of renewable energy installed capacities in the Mediterranean by 2030. Actually, this initiative, it is supported by several organizations, concerned organizations in the region. Among them is the UFM as well, and the Global Renewable Alliance and IRENA, which was launched recently in October. Well, this initiative is potentially it's going to offer jobs till 2030 to 3 million new jobs in the region for young men and women. So I think this is a very, very good opportunity, using the Isaac Hub and using also the mentoring program to support such green jobs in the region. This is going to be a very good opportunity for their empowerment and their capacity building, and not only for the youth, but this initiative, we are also engaging the local stakeholders from the different categories. So it's going, of course, focusing on the role of the civil society in the different Arab countries. So I think this would be a very good opportunity to engage the civil society and the youth groups from the Arab countries to join the hub, and also to benefit from this mentoring program that's going to be launched early next year. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you for the explanation, first of all, on what you are doing, how this can be used and reused by stakeholders, and also for the testimony on how you do use the work done by our innovative sustainable economy mission. So it's time for a few questions. If we have some, please. Do not hesitate to ask any question. In the chat, you can use the chat in order to ask questions. We have Belal Abu Al-Rob from Palestine, who has raised his hand. Please, the floor is yours.
Yes, just because the first time I came to this meeting, I want to describe what Palestine can affect it in this project, because I review all the projects, but I didn't found Palestine most of this project. If you please send me a document what the Palestinian stakeholder interested in this project, because I try to find who the responsible or the stakeholder that's engaged in this project.
Yes. Any partner that is not directly from the cooperation area of the program, for example, as your country, you can participate as associate partner of the partners of the projects, or as beneficiaries of some activities like the ones that we have here proposed and presented, like the hub, for example. And you have in the chat here directly the link in order to join the hub of the Innovative Sustainable Economy Mission, if you are interested in, so that if you join the hub, you will have access to all the information, and you will have the possibility to participate directly in some of the activities. Maybe we can ask also the colleagues to write directly if you want to give us your email, your contact details, and we can explain to you. Okay. Thank you. So you have also, of course, on the websites of the program, where you have the websites of each mission, you can have more information, and also all the links, for example, to subscribe to the newsletters, or to participate in the different communities of practice, hubs, etc., directly, so that you are directly engaged actively in the missions communities. So time is going very fast. So let's go now to the Natural Heritage Mission with a presentation from Carolina Perez from MedCities, followed by Atef Wergi from SPARAC, then Romina Dascanio from Roma Tre University, and finally we will have, so for Romina will present the activities of a transfer project, and then we will have also the transfer project MPA for Change will present its activities with Joachim Garabo. Thank you. Carolina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sophie. My name is Carolina Perez. I'm the head of policy of MedCities Network. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here to present collaboratively with one of our associated partners, the SPARAC of UNEP-MAP, our first policy outputs from the mission. I would like to that is a work that we have performed. We are still implementing as a community around the new nature restoration law, nature restoration regulation of the European Union, which is a very new piece of regulation in which that is crucial for our community and in which we think that our community has a lot to say and to contribute, and also to provide this Mediterranean scope. This is just to stress that this is something that we are doing as a natural heritage community. So it's a joint work by the two governance projects, the community and the dialogue, but also our associated partners engaging with our with all the thematic projects and with other key stakeholders. So this is a collaborative effort in which we want to have a very broad commitment to this piece of regulation, but also to the opportunity generated of synergies with other processes in the Mediterranean. Opa, I went too many slides back. This is something that we aim to do every year, to select a policy process, a key strategic policy moment, and work with our community, with the different working groups and clusters we have in the mission, to position the community at key Mediterranean, European, and international events. We do it by engaging every year in 2 online webinars that have a component of capacity building, but especially are focused on knowledge sharing and fine-tune common positions, and 1 in-person event per year to really collect thorough feedback on our first proposal for a policy brief or a policy document. This year we had this person event just a few weeks ago in Malaga. It was our annual dialogue, and it was very much focused on this piece of regulation, its implication in the Mediterranean, and to really work with the community on collecting feedback and especially collecting practices that we could showcase through this work during the coming year, in which we will advocate for this work. This regulation, the natural restoration law, is part of the EU Green Deal package, and is very much linked to the EU biodiversity strategy, but also, and this would give it a broader scope to our work, responds to other commitments of the European Union, to international commitments, and especially to the ones of the Convention of Biological Diversity and the target to restore 30% of all degraded ecosystems by 2030. So this global target is a target that we share in the Mediterranean. It's not an EU target, and we are exploring how we can use this regulation also to push and foster all this process of regulation and join forces at the Mediterranean scale to advance together towards these targets. So our the policy paper actually what looks for is to provide actionable recommendations for the implementation of these regulations, the EU and the global regulation, and to bridge the policy ambitions with on the ground action. It's a very broad regulation. And in order to be able to work on concrete recommendations and cases, we opted to focus during this first year only on the coastal and marine areas part of this regulation. And with a view to support the same goals of ecosystem restoration across the Mediterranean. So we are very keen to really stress these policy synergies with the Global Biodiversity Framework, but also with the Barcelona Convention and its protocols, other international instruments like Ramsar. We think this is really crucial for the success of this policy. And of course, we want to showcase the role of the thematic projects as a source of best practices, of knowledge, of solutions, of transferable solutions. We will have, after this presentation, 2 interventions of transfer projects that have really actionable tools ready for transferring, and they will serve these opportunities. And of course, as a community, we want to make a call for action. The document, just the elements is, first of all, analyzes the challenges posed by this regulation. Then we go into these actionable recommendations that we are grouping them at different levels by targets. We want to be very concrete on with these recommendations to who they are addressed and what we are expecting. And we are really we really see crucial to go to the subnational level and the subnational stakeholders. And then, of course, this component of best practices and innovative solutions. Just to share some key concepts, key messages or key elements, because we cannot go in detail in this session. To stress this significant gap on scientific knowledge of marine ecosystems, it's clear this is in the whole of the Mediterranean. I mean, there is a huge gap, difference between the knowledge we have on terrestrial ecosystem and on marine ecosystem, and this is something that we need to be aware when working on coastal and marine restoration. We find very, very important, and we really want to push and advocate for a very strong use of the non-deterioration clause, the non-deterioration obligation. Wherever restoration intervention has taken place, it cannot be that the ecosystem is again degraded. We also are all in agreement on the importance of passive restoration in marine areas, whereas in coastal areas we need to go for active restoration. In the marine space, passive restoration is crucial, and this means addressing the root causes of degradation. This means reducing pressures and leave nature restore, and this means, of course, addressing a change of uses of marine resources and marine activities. We really think this needs to be a priority of the national restoration plans. We also want to give a lot of visibility to this interconnection of restoration. So even though we are working now on coastal and marine areas, we welcome very much in the law this source to sea concept. So we cannot restore coastal areas without looking into our rivers and in terms of hydrology and pressures like pollution, but also benefits like sediments. So we need to have always this integrated view. Again, the key role of subnational level in the implementation of the nature restoration law. This regulation contains obligations only for member states that now need to start and are starting to draw their national plans. In this process, we really advocate for the role of subnational authorities, regions, provinces, and cities, also cities. They cannot be like the last mile. They need to be actors in this process. And this was the way we addressed all this regulation in our event in Malaga. We had the discussion tables with the different levels, and I think that was very interesting. And we also want in the current context of the Mediterranean and the historical context of Mediterranean, put on the table the cost, the ecological and environmental cost, of course, over even more dramatic cost of the war and the conflicts. Just to close, to say that what we want to do with this common piece of work, of course, the aim is to influence frameworks at different levels. So we really want to push for our multi-level messages, identify gaps, and give visibility to the Euromed project outcomes. And what we are doing now for 2025 is to align our communication campaigns of the mission with these messages and these actionable recommendations. We are preparing key messages and talking points, so we all as a community have very clear our joint message when we attend different events or have different interventions with other stakeholders, and we will be presenting key events and meetings. And just to also advance it during 2025, our aim is on the one hand advocate for this first policy output while we start widening the scope, looking at it like a living process. So we will start addressing more the terrestrial environment during 2025, and say that I'm pleased to pass the word to Atef Worgi from SPARAC, who will put this into the Mediterranean context.
Okay, thank you, Carolina. May I switch to French to make the balance? Okay, bonjour.
Hello, good morning. I'm Atef Orgi, and I work at the SPARAC, which is the center fighting for, under the Convention of Barcelona, to protect maritime biodiversity in the Mediterranean region. We're giving help to the Mediterranean countries. That's why we created several protocols to protect Mediterranean biodiversity. I'd like to give an answer to the previous introduction. The Barcelona Convention is our main framework when we talk about how to collaborate to protect the Mediterranean biodiversity. The Barcelona Convention is the body, or maybe the convention that really set some strategies to reduce the differences between northern and southern Mediterranean. Under the activities and always aiming at implementing the different international commitments, such as the Biodiversity International Framework. Last year, we implemented the PASIO, which is the post-2020 program. It is the strategic program for biodiversity and sustainable management of natural resources in the Mediterranean. It is the world framework aiming at fighting for the Mediterranean protection. We do have several steps, such as a vision and mission for 2030, the goals for 2030, and also we do have different targets like 27 SMART targets and different actions for 2030 that sums up around 42 actions. This is something very interesting, and which is great. What is great in this strategic program, it is that we can see and detect what are the different needs in the different countries. We can have different discussions and comments at the regional level as well, and at sub-regional level. So we were able to elaborate a bottom-up process that stems from the different priorities of the different countries, always in line with the different directives and the big main world strategies. We always targeted our strategies in the Mediterranean region in such a way that we are always complying with the world strategies, but mainly we are devoted to work for the coast activities. Next slide. As I said before, here we can see the different global goals. We do have 27 actions when dealing with Mediterranean restoration. This was something that we can see in goal number 1, species and habitat plans, and also the species recovery. We do have a specific plan, the so-called recovery of a species, right? But by that time, under the protocol ASPDV, the recovery had to do with the restoration under today's terminology. When we deal with the ecosystem strategies, we are talking about point number 12. In order to complete target number 2 related with the species recovery, we do have another one, which is target number 6 on ecosystem restoration that says by 2027 countries should develop the full inventory of ecosystems. With the highest ecological relevance, the Mediterranean level, and also when dealing with regeneration potential, such as nursery areas and all carbon stocks. And by 2030, complete the restoration of most of those selected. Well, this target was not easy to quantify as we did it under the framework of the World Framework for Biodiversity or under the European recommendations, because this target was developed under the European recommendation, and there is still an ongoing assessment or evaluation in order to know what will be the results of these targets and what are the strategies to be respected in the Mediterranean.
We are supposed to implement urgent actions and restoration plans in order to restore species that have been threatened or that are endangered, in order to follow this type of actions, especially in their habitat. And we are trying to help the countries involved to implement this type of action plans. In this case, for instance, we have some plans that in endangered areas or in threatened areas that Mediterranean countries are also working to implement with us. And we have other European-based projects with our partners. So
right? Somehow.
In any case, the next action is, yes, this concerns the ecosystem inventory and restoration. So you have the target is to make the inventory and make restoration, and this is the translation of that target into action. And the country have to start activity now till 25, 27 they have to complete all the inventory, and by 2030 they have to restore the identified ecosystem in a specific site. So and we are tracking this through like the global biodiversity firm avec un système de suivi de la mise.
So this is what I wanted to share with you. So there's a lot of things that can be said, but 5 minutes and all these many slides, it's quite complicated. So I'm here for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Atef, for contextualizing this Mediterranean context. And I think we have Romina Dascanio in the room to introduce
Yes, I'm
this.
here. Yes, I'm here. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Carolina, for the introduction, and thank you for the invitation to talk briefly about our project WigoCop. I'm Romina Dascanio from Roma Tre University in Rome, and I'm a researcher and communication officer for the WigoCop project. This is a transfer project. Yes, thanks for the slide. This is a transfer project which wants to capitalize the work of previous Interreg projects such as WetNet, CREW, and TuneUp, which focus on applying the environmental contract tool to rivers, coasts, wetlands, and marine protected areas. With over 10 years of experience in river and wetland contracts, WigoCop aims to advance at the Mediterranean level and assess the progress made so far. The river contract, the wetland contract, initially introduced in 80s in France and later in Belgium and in Italy, are voluntary agreements, are voluntary pacts among different stakeholders from public authorities, private sector, and association, designed to protect, manage, and sustainably use natural areas while also promoting local development. So the goal of the contract is to balance nature protection and local development. And so they represent a continuous and collaborative governance process that combines multi-objective, multi-level, and multi-stakeholder decision-making. That finally will lead to sign a legally binding agreement with an action plan. As we know, wetlands are globally endangered, and in the Mediterranean the situation is even worse because of poor water management, pollution, the increasing of urbanization. So these challenges intertwine scientific environmental issues with governance concerns, and this is the framework within which WigoCop is working on. So effective wetland management can only be achieved by overcoming sectoral and administrative boundaries. And WigoCop, which started in January 2024, is working on two different levels. The first one is at Mediterranean and Euromed level, where our task is to establish a community of practice among actors engaged in wetland contract across the whole region, stakeholder engaged also in previous projects. So our task is to capitalize the results of previous project and do a step forward. We are also working on developing a virtual and collaborative platform to support this community of practice, where experience, best practice, and also useful indicator for wetland management will be uploaded and shared. So this project is not just about providing some solution for specific problems, but is about creating a kind of network at Euromed level to transfer the knowledge and the experience, thus improving coordination and decision making. We have already begun building the community of practice, and also we are working on the web platform, mapping the different wetland contracts across Mediterranean. And in January, we will hold our first thematic seminar in Rome to kick off our work on the community of practice. So anyone interested is very welcome to contact us. The second slide, please. So the second level of our work is at the very local level, where we aim to exchange and transfer the methodology on wetland contracts in new countries, but also to reinforce in countries that already experienced the wetland contract. So we will collaborate in pilot areas where the tool has already been tested. As you can see, the red dots in the map in Spain, Italy, and Greece. And we are also transfer for the first time this tool in new pilots area in Croatia, Portugal, and Albania. And our goal is also to apply the process in other extra new pilot in the South and Middle East Mediterranean region. And I again encourage anyone interested to reach out to us. I mean, I take this occasion to try to enlarge the possibility to test this tool, this process. And in September, we conducted our capacity building seminar for our new partners in Seville to transfer the methodology of the wetland contract. And we are going now to apply the roadshow approach, that is a participatory method based on mutual exchange between technical expert and local stakeholder to frame the objectives and the strategy for the wetland contract in these three new pilot. So in conclusion, I would like to highlight that wetland contract offer an effective response to the Ramsar Convention, for example, but also many European directives. I think about the Water Framework directives, and more specifically also the Nature Restoration Law, which requires European countries to adopt integrated approach, participative and collaborative approaches, combining multi-objective, multi-level and multi-stakeholder decision making. So the goal of WIGOCOP is trying to help the implementation of the Nature Restoration Law as well. So this collaborative approach to decision making is somehow a prerequisite for defining integrated and sustainable and viable strategy. So we hope that by working together, using and continuing to apply this already tested tool together to improve wetland governance will be one of the goals of our common future. So we we really want to thank you again, and we really encourage to be part of our community of practice and being part of this process. Thank you.
Thank you. So for anyone engaged in wetland territories, here you can work with WigoCorp. Thank you. Let's go to MPA for Change with Joachim Garabou, please.
Good morning. I'm Joaquin Garrabo. I'm a scientist working here in Spanish Research Council in Spain, and I'm the coordinator of MPA for Change. Next slide, please. So you know that the Mediterranean is a multiple hotspot. It's a hotspot for the climate change, a hotspot for the biodiversity. We are really high biodiversity, and we can consider as well the Mediterranean as a hotspot of protection. In fact, in the Mediterranean, we have around 1,300 MPAs, but we know that these MPAs, we are still far from the goals that we agree as a community at the different levels to reach the 30% and the high protection, etc. But we are still, as well, there are other aspects that are really at least as important as those ones of the targets, which is that the most of the MPAs, they don't have any adaptation plans to the climate change, which is ongoing and really hard in the Mediterranean. And we have the lack of management effectiveness in most of the MPAs. Next one. In this framework, we have been participating in different Interreg Med projects during the last almost 10 years, which our goal was to provide or to make that marine protected areas an effective ocean-based solutions to adapt and mitigate the climate emergency. And for this, next slide, please. And for this, we have been developing really successfully different toolkits that they target different domains that are required to develop these adaptation action plans to the climate change. These toolkits are based from the data collection that brings to the management action, so they are really practical in the adoption, and they are ready to scale up. Next slide, please. But the problem is that when we realized that we wanted to scale up, it's always the same, that we have these targets. We have 1,300 MPAs in the Mediterranean. We know that there is a lot of work to do. We have this 30% to reach of protection in the Mediterranean by 2030. So we need some to set a target which was operational, but as well and with a lot of ambition. And this is why in the framework of MPA for Change, we are launching this campaign, which is 100 MPAs Med Alliance. That what is the goal of this campaign is to have 100 MPAs by 2030 that have implemented climate change adaptation plans across the Mediterranean, not only in the northern countries, but what we are looking is to have the entire Mediterranean working on these aspects. And for this, we are looking for endorsements and collaboration with regional partners, organizations, and NGOs like those, the MedPan, the WWF, IUCN, and of course the Union for the Mediterranean and the SPARAC. Next slide. And why we set this, or why we are going to do this, because okay, we have the tools, so we have the toolkits, so we are gathering, thanks to the application of the implementation of these toolkits, more data that is helping the MPAs at local level. We have toolkits as well for the communication to raise the problem of the climate change at the local level for the MPAs. We are doing some activities on policy advocacy, but it was not scaling up at the proper rate or the way that we wanted, and we realized that in fact what we needed is a dedicated assistance mechanism, a group of experts that they have the expertise at different toolkits of the different dimensions that we need to develop these adaptation action plans, that they have to act at this regional level. And in the framework of MPA for Change, one of the key aspects of the MPA of this project is to develop this group of assistance mechanisms to support this campaign of reaching 100 MPAs by 2030. Next slide, and this is the last one. So what we want is that to get all the benefits that marine protected areas can bring to us across the Mediterranean, and to enhance the potential of this nature-based solution, and to make that these 100 MPAs like houses that help us to enhance the entire MPA network or system in the Mediterranean. So please do your best and join the 100 MPA Meta Alliance campaign. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you from the Natural Heritage Mission for those presentations and opportunities, concrete opportunities for collaboration. So again, as for the wetlands, if you are working with a marine protected area, you can join the MPA for Change work and campaign. Do we have questions for our 4 panelists on natural heritage? I don't see any hand raised. Okay. Of course, you can come back afterwards if you have some questions. Thank you very much. Let's go then to the Green Living Areas mission. We will have a presentation of the main results of the and topics of the thematic projects by Danilo Ce from the Scientific Research Center BISTRAP-TUI. Then a presentation on some ongoing results and future steps from Bernard Massabo from Métropole Nice Côte d'Azur, and 2 testimonies from takers of results from thematic projects, the Jerash municipality in Jordan, and the Euro-Mediterranean and the institutional policy dialogue process, and a testimony from the involvement in the institutional policy dialogue process of MEDENER with Roberta Boniotti. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning to all. You can hear me, everything fine. Perfect. So thank you for the invitation for the second MET talks. I hope also we will meet next year in the 3rd and 4th, because I'm quite sure that for each MET talks we will have more results to show and more possibilities that we integrate Southern Med actors in our projects. Like we already discussed, me and my colleagues Bernard Massabo will present the thematic projects topics and also the results and future steps. And then I'm quite happy that we have 2 testimonies from the takers from city of Jerash municipality from Jordan, and then from testimony from Euro-Mediterranean stakeholders, Roberta Boniotti. So let's start. We already present what is Green Interreg Euromed mission and Green Living Area, so I will skip this. But just to give you again from which direction we are coming, Green Living Areas is divided with 2 governance projects. On one side, we have community living areas, which is main task is building a strong community between the thematic projects and fostering the replicability of the solution, practice, and so on. On the next side of the bridge, we have dialogue for living areas, which the main task is amplifying the transfer of policy instrument and ensuring the cooperation, long-term cooperation between the actors to using the police instrument. And on the middle of the bridge are our thematic projects which we are working. We have at the moment 19 thematic projects, 6 testing projects, 2 study projects, 1 transfer project, and more than 160 different organizations involved in our green living areas. And from this 160 organizations, there are 28 local authorities, 14 regional authorities, and which I'm surprised actually, it's also 22 infrastructure and public service providers, which is quite interesting information. This is the map of the lead partners where are located the projects and our territories which we are focusing on our project are basically the most projects are focusing on the urban areas in the cities, but some projects are also using focusing on rural integration with the mountains, coastal areas, and we have a few projects which are focusing on the islands and also on the port. Through the thematic project, there are five main topics which our thematic project are divided: territorial planning, energy transition, sustainable mobility, citizens engagement, and financing the green transition. And from these 5 main topics, we have created and organized also 5 thematic working groups. And thematic working groups are for us a member-driven community of action. And we seek to establish the thematic working groups and working with thematic projects in these thematic working groups, focus on 3 broader objectives. One is, of course, enhance and amplify the impact of the community deliverables, activities, and investment in sustainable green development. Second one, which is also quite important, is share relevant information, knowledge, and expertise between the thematic project, between the stakeholders and also other actors, and to prepare capitalization and transferring models. So the sustainable mobility we create through the main topic, sustainable mobility, we create a green mobility working group. So there are 5-6 projects which are focusing on electromobility in rural and remote areas, then how to change the agri-food logistic in the cities. We have projects which is focused on autonomous mobility on demand, especially in the cities, in the urban areas. Then we have a project which is focusing public transport, how to effectively manage the public transport in the cities. And then we have 2 projects which are focusing on creation of mobility hubs and also change the logistic in urban spaces in the cities. The territorial planning main topics. With these topics, we created the working group Green Resilience Plannings. In this, we have only 4 projects. While the projects are focusing on nature-based solutions, which are focusing on how to use already gray water. Then the tactical urbanism, this is the new approach, how you can involve citizens and change the planning in the cities, also focusing on mobility. Then we have 2 projects which are focusing on the how to change the cities, how the cities can become resilient and climate neutrality. Then the 3rd main topics is energy transition, and through this we create a green energy system thematic working groups. In this project are focusing on optimization of public lighting. Then how to use renewable energy infrastructure such as photovoltaic power charging station. Then the project how to support planning and implement the local energy plans. We have a project how to build renewable energy communities, and also a project which is focusing on the ports, how to transfer the ports to the clean energy through the clean energy transition to be climate friendly ports. And then we have the 5 main topics, 4th main topics. This is financing the green transition. Here we have the projects which are producing green financing models for the business ecosystem. Then we have the project which will have solution and practice how to finance the EV charging infrastructure and public shared EV rental schemes. We will have projects which will focus on optimizing the public investments. And I think the most intriguing project is SynFire, which will produce innovative financing solution for climate planning of resilience and carbon neutrality living areas. And the last topic is citizens engagement, and we create a green community engagement working groups. Here, a project focusing on European Bauhaus solution, integration of citizens engagement in creation of sustainable urban living areas. Then we have a project which are also focusing on gamification and interactive elements, how to mobilize public actors, public authorities, citizens for co-creation of transition scenarios. There, of course, community engagement without the inclusive renewable energy communities in the Mediterranean region we cannot have. So we have a projects which is focusing really on renewable energy communities. Then we have a project which is how to create innovative solution to involve citizens through the new innovative approaches as tactical urbanism. And then the final project is it's a nudges, which aim is change the citizens' behavior through the tools, through different tools of integration the citizens' community in the change of towards climate-friendly actions. And I will give a word now to my colleagues, Bernard. Bernard?
Yeah, can you hear me? Yes, good morning. Sorry. So within the Green Living Areas mission at policy level, we intend to implement a process for institutional policy dialogue, and in order also to support the thematic projects in their work in bringing to a policy level their results regarding tools and methodologies, and also trying to engage Euromediterranean key stakeholders to bring their expertise to this dialogue, but also to benefit from the policy instruments which will be discussed. For the concrete benefits of this institutional policy dialogue, I will leave after the floor to Roberta Bugnotti, one of our stakeholders participating in the process, to give you our first impression. Next slide, perhaps, Danilo. We implemented the first institutional policy dialogue last October in Brussels in the frame of the EU Week for Regions and Cities. And we at that time we had identified four policy champions regarding green mobility, spatial planning, renewable energy, economic development, and environment and innovation. For each thematic, we had a specific policy instrument, and we had the testimony of the municipality implementing this policy instrument, and then an exchange on how could we replicate or adapt this policy to other territories in the Euro-Mediterranean area. So for the stakeholders, mainly from the southern or eastern part of the Mediterranean, we are inviting you to join this process. We will create a group of stakeholders to participate in this process. So please let us know if you are interested, and you will be able to join. And we will organize a next institutional dialogue next autumn in 2025. Next slide, please. This is what I was mentioning. And before, in order to be able to organize this second national policy dialogue, we will have two steps before. One, with the thematic projects, we will organize a new thematic working group session focusing on policy in February, and we will also create a core group of stakeholders, as I mentioned earlier. In March, we will organize the first meeting with these stakeholders, and then we will be able to propose to the thematic projects partners and also to the stakeholders to work together during the second national policy dialogue. Next slide. So at the community level, mainly focusing on tools and methodologies, the first step or the first challenge was first to gather the community, which was successfully done in spring last year, and then the community for the thematic community project is working on a brochure related to this thematic project and their potential results. Then also there is another challenge which is to create at national level territorial antennas. So one territorial antenna is going to be created in each of the countries of the Interreg Euromed program. And the idea is to be able to make the link at national level between the partners of the thematic projects which are working in this country, the results, the potential results of these thematic projects, and also the policy level and the policy need at national level. The territorial antennas will be launched, and then they will try to meet on a regular basis. Then, regarding the whole community of the thematic partners of the thematic projects, a new annual event will be organized end of May, 28th and 29th of May in Barcelona. The idea of the thematic community project is to organize a yearly event with the thematic projects. And this year, the focus will be more on co-creation workshops and training. And also the intention of the thematic community project or of the mission, because perhaps we will also be able to join our forces together with the thematic community project, is to participate in the European Week of Sustainable Energy next June. So we are in the phase of trying to see which could be the proposal for the session. And in December next year, you will organize an online session with the thematic working groups to perhaps try to make a summary of what has been implemented up to now, and also taking into bearing in mind that some of or most of the thematic projects will end in 2026, some in beginning of 2026. So it's also 2025, a very important year to be able to capitalize them as much as possible on the results of the thematic projects. And next slide. Yeah, now I think we can leave the floor to the two persons with their respective testimony.
Thank you, Danilo and Bernard. Yes, please, Wafa.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm Wafa Hawamda from Jerash Municipality, Jordan. I'm a head of local development unit. I will say about my experience in Urwan project. For me, it's good opportunity to see the best practice for nature-based solution. Also, how to share knowledge with the other municipalities Municipality that work in this field. So you know, in Jerash municipality, we have a big problem in water section, in water, especially in also greening the city. So for me, it's a good good opportunity to see the experience of another partner and share knowledge with them. And it's good for me as environmental engineer in the municipality to capacity building, how to how to work in this experience in my municipality. Also, I hope so to more learning and work in and work in this field. So in last meeting we for me it's good also opportunity foresee the catch tools or here, which is the best solution for nature-based solution that which uses. And I hope to share my basic knowledge for my colleagues in the municipality and to raise their capacity in this field and use this technology or new technology for our municipality in to solution some of the problem in the problem by using nature-based solutions, especially in public gardening and public building. Also to share this knowledge for my colleagues in the municipality. This is my experience in the project, in our project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Roberta Bognotti, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you and good morning, everybody. I would like to thank Bernard Massabo for the invitation. I represent today the Medener Association, and it's a pleasure for me to start to give a very quick overview about the association, our role in the Mediterranean area, and about our projects and our interest in participating in the policy dialogue, our benefits. Also, we can bring, of course, our expertise to the project. Our association is an association that was established in 1997 of 13 national energy agencies from the northern and southern shores of the Mediterranean, and we are working together, sharing experiences, know-how, best practices. We've been working since 1997, but in particular, we work very closely for the last project that we've been awarded, the MeetMed project, and actually it's becoming a program more than a project. It's mitigation, enabling energy transition in the Mediterranean region. This is funded by DG NEAR in the framework of the European neighboring instrument. I don't see my slides anymore. Hello?
Yes.
Can you share the slides maybe?
Danilo, it was you sharing the slides. Sorry for that, indeed.
I can try sharing my copy.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Okay. So this is our association, and of course I was saying that we are working at the MeetMed project, mitigation enabling energy transition in the Mediterranean region. We participate, and we are one of the main stakeholders of the UFM, in particular the Energy and Climate Secretariat, together with RECRE, the Regional Center for Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy based in Cairo. Going to the, I don't know if you can. Okay, going to the objectives of our project. We had the first phase of our project that was the MeetMed1 to pave the way and to study the energy transition for the area. We established a regional expert network of more than 150 experts from the national agencies, and the beneficiaries of our actions are the 8 countries that you can see on the right side of the slide. So the countries from the area North Africa and Middle East. We are currently working at the MeetMed2 project and that contributes to enhancing energy security of beneficiary countries and fostering their transition to low carbon economy, in particular focusing on the sector of building and appliances in this phase of the project, current phase that's going to end next year, to accelerate the clean energy transition. For us, it's very important the public awareness, the involvement of the civil society. It's very important to tackle the aspects of financing the green transition. And moreover, in the next phase that's already awarded to us, the MeetMed3 project will be focused on 2 main objectives: promote more sustainable cities and step up climate mitigation efforts in the energy sectors, and in particular continuing in the building sector, but not just this important energy consuming sector in the region. So we are becoming the Covenant of Mayors Mediterranean, so our agencies will be the focal points for the Covenant of Mayors in the Mediterranean area. We can see that we have really a great interest in participating in the institutional policy dialogue process. First of all our sectors are really in line with the thematic areas of the Green Living Areas project. We are aligned, in particular for impact of urban activities. We'll be working on the negative impact of urban activities. We want to facilitate the energy transition, improve territories' resilience to the effects of climate change, and promote citizens' involvement in green transition. Our target countries are in the southern shore of the Mediterranean, but our activities are really carried out by all the national energy and climate agencies of the northern and southern shores of the Mediterranean. We cooperate both at north-south, but also at south-south level for all our activities and deliverables. And the institutional policy dialogue process is an opportunity to identify effective and successful applications of policies. In our project, in our MeetMed project, we are trying to create a kind of concerted action similar to the European one, also for the Mediterranean, about policies, about strategies, not just in the building sector, but in all the sectors for the energy transition. And of course, we are tackling also the climate aspects. So it is really a great benefit for us to exchange, to build on existing projects' achievements, and our main aim is to share increased knowledge from both shores of the Mediterranean. So then we can inspire new strategies, policies, and solutions through this dialogue North-South Mediterranean, and really participating in the institutional policy dialogue is very relevant for us to have the possibility to replicate, to adapt existing policy instruments, and hopefully to upscale successful plans and solutions. So in our common and joint effort, we are sure we can reach more results. We can be really in collaboration, and we participated also to the first institutional policy dialogue process in October, where we found a lot of testimonies, a lot of policy champions, where we can take really the experience and bring that to our partners. So we are looking forward to the next steps, and we are ready to collaborate also for our multi-level governance aspects, going from the national agencies to the implementation of the impact at local level. Thank you very much, and we are available for any questions or collaborations and contacts. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Roberta.
Roberta, and thank you to all of you, Danilo, Bernard, Wafa, and Roberta, for these presentations and testimonies on behalf of the Green Living Area mission. Do we have questions at this stage for our speakers? Do not hesitate. Not for the moment. Okay, thank you. So let's go now to the last but not least mission, sustainable tourism. We will have a presentation from Georgina Calvo from the Diputación de Barcelona, Luis Miranda from ASCAME, and a testimony from Professor Ayman Harb from the University of Jordan. Please, colleagues, Georgina, you can start.
Yes, thank you very much, Sophie. I'm going to share first the presentation. I don't see the option to here, yes. Okay, you let me know when you're seeing the presentation.
It's okay.
Okay, perfect. Well, good morning, everybody. First, we would like to thank you also, as my colleague did, for having us in this yearly event and to update you about the development of our mission. From the side of the Sustainable Tourism mission, it will be me, Georgina Calvo from the Barcelona Provincial Council, a lead partner of the thematic community project of the Sustainable Tourism Mission, who will do the first part of the presentation, and then I will be followed by Luis Miranda from the Association of Chambers of Commerce of the Mediterranean, partner of the Institutional Dialogue Project of the Sustainable Tourism Mission. And at the end, we will have the testimonial of our associated partner, Professor Ayman Harb from the University of Jordan. Well, I'm going to start. First of all, well, we wanted to start our presentation by showing first the strategic importance of the sustainable tourism topic in the overall thematic coverage of the program. As you can see, in this mission, the Sustainable Tourism Mission tackles and covers through the implementation of the activities of the project the 4 specific objectives that have been defined by the Interreg Euromed program, understanding that the sustainable tourism is a completely transversal topic and a priority for the Mediterranean area, in where the tourism is a very important economic activity for all the destinations, and well, its consequences, of course, we know that have a huge impact in these regions. So, well, we'll follow with the thematic projects that are now part of our mission. These are the 10 thematic projects that are developing so far their activities in our community. We expect to be integrating more projects through the coming calls that the program will be opening. And as you can see so far, well, as we have this diverse coverage by the mission, we have a huge diversity of topics, from projects that are developing solutions for the adaptation and the mitigation of the climate change effects in our destinations, projects that are using the innovation and new technologies to deal with the challenges of tourism, and well, other projects that are working in different strategies for the diversification of the tourism offer in the destinations, promoting sustainable alternatives to those tourism activities that represent a bigger impact and that apply more pressure in our destination. So it has been 1 year since all these projects started implementing their activities, and at this point, we cannot still share or present any relevant or final results, of course, of these projects, as most of them are gathering information through preliminary studies. They're gathering best practices, they're mapping territories in which they're going to implement their solutions, they're organizing workshops with local actors, many different activities. But maybe we can share not all of them, but some results that we expect to be able to promote from the thematic projects in a very near future could be, for instance, in the case of Kulnuns, they will present a catalog of solutions and itineraries for tourists and inhabitants of the destinations to face the heating in the Mediterranean destinations. In the case of Nature for Climate Change, for instance, they are about to present a toolkit to promote that the destinations can implement climate action plans. What else? In the case of projects such as Med Routes, they're developing a strategy for sustainable tourism and eco-itineraries in the Med area with training materials and training for operators and local businesses that will take part of these itineraries. And one other example could be in the case of Livecchio, who is, they are working in a destination management support system for monitoring the sustainability of the tourism activities in the destination as well. These are just some examples so far, but all the projects are working in developing very interesting solutions. And we will be, of course, as governance projects of the mission, promoting all these results while they are being launched and they're being ready. I must say as well that not only the thematic projects, but also the thematic community projects and the institutional dialogue project, we are working on some other results. We have lately presented a blueprint for the implementation of tourism climate action plans in the destinations. We have been working, launching some other documents. We will be presenting policy papers as well very shortly. And we are we launched in the last semester a platform, a knowledge platform that will be including all this information and all the results from the thematic projects and other results related with sustainable tourism in the Mediterranean. You can find it here below in this slide. It's the Join the Med platform. And this is integrated in the website of the project. So in the website, of the project of the mission, you will find the link to the websites of all the projects, the link to this platform where you can find a lot of information there, and also the results of the governance project. Okay, we needed also to talk about one specific activity that we are promoting, in this case from the thematic community project. One of the main reasons to be of our project is to support the thematic projects in the development and transferring of their activities and results. And what we have done, maybe one of the most transversal activities that we are developing is the Med Clusters activity, where our proposal is to distribute the 10 projects of the community, the 10 projects we have for now, in 4 different groups that are aligned with the 4 specific objectives that our mission covers. So in these groups, what we do is to work internally with the projects, find synergies, and give support during the implementation of their activities. But what we also wanted to do here is to promote the participation of external stakeholders to amplify the work that these projects are doing, to involve other actors related to the sustainable tourism activities in the Mediterranean area that might not be involved in the direct implementation of these projects, but can, of course, benefit from their results. And also through these groups, try to reach out also to policy actors as well. For instance, we will develop within these clusters different policy papers, and this will be done as well with the support and the contribution of the IDP project, as they are participating also in all of these cluster groups. So as you can see in the slide, these 4 groups are aligned with the specific objective, and this is a distribution of the project within each one of the groups. At this point, what we are doing with this activity is to celebrate one annual gathering of all the clusters in which all the projects can meet and share their results together. And for now, we have also prepared orientation papers for each of these clusters. which are also available in our website. And well, upcoming results will be these best practices reports and policy papers. And that's it from my side. I'm going to give the floor to Luis, who will present this other activity. Thank you.
Okay, how does it work? I say you to just to change the slide, or do I have to? Okay, thank you, Georgina. This is coordination in distance. This is great. Okay, we have here the Sustainable Tourism Policy Labs. This is one of the main issues that we need to develop within D4T and within the Sustainable Tourism Mission. And the finality is to increase coordination level and institutional capacity of public authorities, and at the same time to enable mainstreaming and sustainable tourism policy. If you see on the left, you will see this bubble. You see in the middle, Sustainable Tourism Policy Labs. As I was saying, one of the main ideas is to increase cooperation and promote exchanges of this knowledge. But at the same time, we have here, as you see in the bubble, a lot of results from the former projects of the Sustainable Tourism Community in the former InterRegMed program, as well as the thematic projects that Georgina was introducing right now. So all these results need to be transferred. The idea is to increase capacities of the public authorities, and as I was saying before, enable mainstreaming and make transformation happens in this sector of tourism. In the right, you can see these three columns. We're right here, the first steps that we've been doing regarding the Sustainable Tourism Policy Labs. We made an event in Barcelona in the framework of the MedAweek Barcelona. We presented the first ideas of the Sustainable Tourism Policy Labs. It was called Rethinking the Tourism in Med. At the same time, we need to announce that we have already hired a consulting company that will develop the methodology for these Sustainable Tourism Policy Labs to be developed and then transfer this methodology. The first step, we will make a first session in Athens in June in the context of the Circle of the Med. Second one will happen in Barcelona during MedAweek Barcelona in October 2025. These two sessions need to be understood as testing sessions. The idea is to test the methodology that will be developed and constructed with the consulting company. And then we will make also in December 2025, January 2026, an info session with the idea of transferring all this knowledge on all that we've been working to the 4 InterReg missions. So once this testing methodology will be ready, the idea is to transfer it to the different partners that will implement the Sustainable Tourism Policy Labs in the field. Next slide. Okay, here we have the list of activities, events, and some publications in the right. So in the left side, we have these activities. We have, of course, joined the MED platform, which is online. We will have the network of Sustainable Tourism Observatories. Next events will be in June 2025 in Brussels. Then we will have the next events of the Sustainable Tourism Policy Labs they were saying before, in June 2025 in Athens, in October 2025 in Barcelona. We have also the Cross Network Alliance. There will be, last event was in Porik in Croatia, this year in 2025. And next event will be in Athens in June 2025. We have also the Mediterranean clusters. We will have here preparing papers which are available. We are also working in Interreg Euromed Academy in preparation. At the same time, we will have the Driving Tourism Transition, DDT panel hub, and have the first online webinar in March 2025. And we are also working in the Mediterranean strategy on sustainable tourism. For the events, you have here in this column, previous events we had in 2024 in Ljubljana, Slovenia. This year we have the Sun and Blue Congress in Almería in Spain. Then we will have the 3rd and 4th Mediterranean Sustainable Tourism Conventions in 2026 and 2029. And we will have in 2025 in Nice, France, in the month of June, the side event United Nations Ocean Conference. As I said before, in the context of the Circle de Med, we will have this first session, and the students are piloting in Athens, Greece in June 2025. And then we have publications on the right side. Next slide. Of course, we have here our social network. You can follow us in LinkedIn, in Twitter, in Facebook. We are also in YouTube and in the different, and of course in our website, different social media. And here finally we have the testimony from Southern Med Actor, the University of Jordan, involving the activity of Med Sustainable Tourism Clusters, Professor Ayman Hart. They've been very active. They've been taking part in our community, associated partners. It is necessary to say that they were also associated partners in the former Sustainable Tourism community. So we have here this important actor, and it would really be important for us to understand and know why they think it's important to be with us and to follow our mission. So here we have Professor Ayman Hart, that I think would be very interesting to know why it's important for them to be with us and follow our sustainable tourism mission. And from my side, this is everything. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, the audio is off. Thank you, Emiranda. It's my pleasure to be with you in this event. If you can let me to share the slides. I'm trying to share the slides, but okay, no worries. So for the University of Jordan, for advancing circular economy in tourism, just like short introduction about University of Jordan, it's a pioneer institution in integrating sustainability in education and research, particularly. Also are dedicated as University of Jordan to promoting innovative solutions for sustainable tourism. So we involved in mid-circular economic clusters under C40 project that focusing on sustainable tourism. So we are collaborating with Mediterranean stakeholders to minimize waste and enhance resource efficiency, particularly for tourism sector. So our objective to involve in this project is to transition towards a low-impact tourism model that benefits both the environment and the economy. So University of Jordan's contribution to circular economy in tourism. So we tried as the University of Jordan to contribute to circular economy and tourism through academic research contribution. We are conducting studies on sustainable waste management practices in tourism and in sustainable tourism as well. Also, we support local restaurants through consultations and hotels in implementing sustainable tourism practices, including circular economy, because it will help a lot reducing the waste and recycling some products there. Also, as the University of Jordan, we raise awareness to the students about circular economy importance in tourism and in hospitality industry. For the community and industry engagement, University of Jordan's tried through this project to, as associated partner, to organize workshops on resource efficiency and sustainable procurement for tourism business. Also engage with local communities to promote eco-friendly practices. So how this cluster and how is our participation as University of Jordan as associated partner fit with our university strategic goals. So the benefits of this cluster, circular economy cluster, for environment, raising awareness about reducing waste and pollution through innovative circular practices. For economic, lower operation cost for businesses and enhanced profitability. Also for social, improved community well-being, and job creation in sustainable tourism. So all of these benefits like align with the University of Jordan strategic goals, particularly for job creation and sustainable tourism, also for raising awareness about reducing waste and sustainability practices, also to lower operation costs for the university itself and for the partners we work in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all of you, Georgina, Luis, and Professor Harb, for your presentations and testimonies. It's really important also for us to hear about your experiences. So do we have questions regarding the Sustainable Tourism mission? No. Okay. So we think really that it's important to have this. Mr. Coldiretti, Patrick, please. You have raised your hand. We can hear you. Mr. Coldiretti. You can open your microphone and ask your question or comments if you wish. You just have on the left side of the screen to unmute your microphone. At the bottom of the screen. Or if you have a problem with the microphone, you can write also in the chat your question. So I think that waiting for that, I think that it's really important to have this annual meeting, let's say, to shape a little bit what are the activities that are going, what are the opportunities that are offered to stakeholders of the Mediterranean area. Because, of course, this work is an ongoing work. Our projects are ongoing now, our governance projects that are dealing with the thematic communities and the institutional dialogue for each mission are running for 7 years. It's now we have finalized the 2nd year only. So it's an ongoing process, which is, of course, interesting to jump in since the beginning, but also where you have the opportunity to access also during the implementation, depending on the activities that are of your interest. You have seen that we cover a broad, a wide range of topics, which so I'm sure that some of them are for sure interesting for each of you. So do not hesitate to contact our partners, to visit the websites, and to have the possibility to participate in major events, in specific targeted activities, webinars, for example, or seminars, to also to participate in communities of practices or policy hubs, depending on your depending also on your on the type of stakeholder you are representing. You can, of course, try to to access to the newsletters and to ask for receiving the newsletters so that you don't miss any activity or information you might be interested in. And that's it from my side. I think that it's really interesting always to have these kinds of exchanges, and do not hesitate if you have other questions. You can also write on the chat. And Alessandra, I give you the floor now for closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Sophie, and thank you very much to everybody. I mean, we went through brilliant presentation, and I think that the activities are all very well progressing. So I'd like actually to point out also on how some of the work that is being done is directly linked also to our mandate and to our daily activities. Let me, for example, mention that in January we have the UFM Working Group on Environment. On that occasion, we will have the presentation of the restoration policy paper, as we did for other policy papers prepared also by the ISA community through previous projects in the past. So these are very important platforms actually where the North and the South meet, where this policy paper can indeed be shared. And I was also pleased to be in Malaga a few days ago on the occasion of the annual meeting organized by the Mission Nature. So this is an example of direct link. Another example is indeed on the wetlands contract. We have been actually requested, and we got just a green light by our co-presidency, which are indeed the European Commission and Jordan, to have the wetlands contracts progress, let's say, presented at the next working group again in January. So that will be another important opportunity of link. I'd like also to mention that, for example, for other activities that are not directly carried out within, let's say, my division, but other division of the UFM, for example, the one of economic affairs, conference on sustainable tourism is being planned with a focus on employment and entrepreneurship aspects. We are keeping a close eye, as indeed, I mean, that again is another opportunity of very concrete linkages. This and more is indeed going to be part of the task of the next technical assistance that we are going to launch precisely with the Joint Secretariat to support this type of matchmaking. I would also suggest that in the light of the identification of all the events and activities which the Southern Med countries can also join as associates, so not just as a recipient, but also as active part, peer reviews, meeting online, capacity building activities and so on. Of course, the technical assistants, the expert of the technical assistant can build a joint calendar which we can then disseminate widely within the region, can indeed also maybe improve the communication efforts also with the South. And I mentioned the South because, of course, the Eastern Mediterranean is already part of the Interreg Euromed community, and maybe identified also more matchmaking possibilities with those missions which are less, let's say, connected to the South. The expert will also take care of preparing the next edition of the MED talks in 2025, where we see actually that December normally is a very good moment to wrap up and to, let's say, reflect on what has been done. And of course, I mean, we have been using this format this time, as it was very important to show how all the missions are progressing on their own activities and with their own projects, but along the lines of what has been discussed, we can also imagine a different format for next year. So I think with this, I can close this webinar. I don't know, Sophie, if you want to add something more. It was very intense, a lot of information, and a very important element is also that the presentation will be compiled and shared with all the participants, so with all the registered participants of the MED talks, indeed to ensure wider dissemination. So I would like also to the different speakers to make sure that their email or the contact details basically of each mission be clearly spelled, so that potential partners can join for the next 5 years. As Sophie mentioned, this is work in progress, so there are still opportunities for partners from the South to join, so please do so. It's a unique opportunity to join forces. And with this, let me close this webinar and wish you the best for the end of the year and the beginning of the new one. So looking forward to meet you all soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.